Okay, so live again. I'm gonna go ahead and share it. I'm gonna take a minute to actually share it out. Let's see. Okay, so live again. Take a minute to throw it up on Facebook everywhere. Okay, so I guess got that up. Just gonna check the stream real quick, make sure the. Gonna go ahead and share it. Okay, sounds like the audio's okay. Um, I am going to be listening to an audiobook while I carve, as I always do. So let's see. It's going to be an alien coin. Need to find myself an alien audiobook. Hmm. I'm tempted to go with Anne McCaffrey, but I don't think that's really going to be that fitting doing an aliens one. So let's see. I know I have a trilogy on here somewhere. If you haven't read the actual book for the Alien movie, it's pretty good. One of the better movie to novel crossovers. At least it's just about as good as the movie is. One. It's even find it on search. I have over 100 audiobooks on my phone here. Alien Invasion, Track 1.
This audio program is presented by Audible.com. Audible. Audio that's
I'll start with that. I need to get my sweatshirt off. I'm sorry.
The Rage War Part 2. Alien Invasion.
Okay.
By Tim Lemon.
So I just picked up some beer. Got a Coke on hand, but I've got some Bud Light Orange in the fridge just in case.
Yakuza attacks across the human sphere of space grow in frequency.
So I'm gonna try to keep that on low volume, so I'm not agitating you guys with my book. But I really haven't put a lot of thought into this coin yet. However, it kind of the forehead here on the Indian head nickel kind of makes me think of the head of the alien. So I was thinking I'd try to capture that.
When Lilia flees, she carries with her a sample of their technology that might help humanity fight back. Maloney sends Alexander, one of her best generals, in pursuit.
So see about using a little bit of that.
Is a research scientist fascinated with the Yakuza. Slowly learning their language, she is almost killed in a terrorist attack.
And I took a couple screenshots of interesting photos I found earlier today. I've done a couple alien coins in the past. It's been a long time though.
A colonial marine outfit created to keep watch on the Yakuza habitat beyond the sphere. When someone, or something, attacks the habitat, Maines and his crew crash land.
Let's see.
What they discover is beyond belief. The
Zoom out a little.
The human sphere. They are fleeing an assault by weaponized xenomorphs. This is the army of the Rage. At the end of book 1,
Yeah, the book I'm listening to actually calls them xenomorphs. I don't really agree with that. I'm more a xenomorph guy. Hi, Donald.
and broker an unsteady peace between humans
Natty daddies. Nice.
Lilia, taken into custody.
Didn't know to partake in a little bit of the natural ice.
The warrior called Hashori escapes with her captor when the
So,
Rage General Alexander
drops back
closes
like
in and
that.
attacks. Lieutenant Johnny Maines and
I'm not
his
seeing
crewmen
anything on the host coin that'll
Yakuza
really,
habitat, UMF
well, maybe a little bit of this edge of the
They
hair,
had witnessed and fought the weaponized xenomorphs, and a Rage
because their
general
cheek tends to be kind of just a conglomeration of
Maines and Leader have witnessed evidence of ancient alien colony ships
like
returning from
stringy,
far depths of unexplored
stringy
space.
stuff hanging down there on the
They
side.
realize that these could be used as birthing grounds for
So I'll try to
tens of thousands of more
keep with
xenomorph
that.
soldiers. The Rage are coming.
And I'm seeing some little bits of this part of the hair and a little bit of that bottom of the cheek that
Yakuza habitat designated
come
UMF-12
right down and
beyond outer rim.
use some of that to
2692
kind of define the
General Patton was
the
left,
jawbone.
and Lieutenant Johnny Maines, leader of what was left of the 5th Excursionists, the Void Marks,
A little bit of muscle tissue there, kinda.
he refused to go without a fight. The scratching, scampering sounds of the approaching
Or maybe
xenomorphs
even just kind of like some
They
tubular
were nearing
stuff.
the bridge of this strange ship, perhaps
Always been really
their
fascinated with
master,
Geiger's work.
or attacking of their own
He was a
volition.
hell of an artist,
Either
really.
way, it would mean the end. Maines and his one surviving excursionist, Leader, were low on ammunition. Their combat suits were depleted. They had fought
Ooh,
well
I like
and
that
lost
for
many good
a
friends
lower
along the
jaw,
way,
kinda.
but this was
It's
their
good.
last stand. We stay
Now,
together.
the teeth are gonna be really hard to define with such a large pen. I'm using, as usual,
The bridge, they'll spread out and take us down. Ammo,
the Micro Perm 03.
lower laser charge, one
I haven't gotten a chance to re-up
You
my microperm O1s.
Couple of grenades.
O5 is just much
Might
too
as well
large for
spin it.
me to use.
We'll take
Use.
a few. Last grenades for us. Leader glanced at him as she drew closer.
You kind of like to have an actual insertion for
He
these
was glad. They'd
upper
watched too
teeth.
many people die beneath the Xenomorph's attack to have any intention of going that way.
Do something like that.
At least hugging a grenade between them would
At least
ensure
seem to
they
have
died.
some kind of gum line to
The android Patton chuckled.
keep them a little bit humanoid.
That grated on Mains's nerves. Can I shoot him? Leader asked. She knew the answer. It would be a waste of
Let's
ammunition.
see.
Patton remained pinned to the rear wall of the ship's bridge by a Yahusha spear. Splayed at his feet were the bodies of a single Yahusha and innumerable dead Xenomorphs. Their slick
I'm not
carapaces
sure if I'm going to be able to-
burst apart from when they'd self-destructed at the moment of death.
You know,
Countless
forget it.
acid
I'm gonna
bubbles splashed and scarred the walls,
make sure I've got that
and the acrid stench still hung on the air.
second mouth in here.
Maines had never heard of a Xenomorph doing that before. Suicide is a Yahucha trick, he mused. Just another mystery. They're close, Leader said. Maines didn't need telling. His six systems
Okay.
were low on charge and glitching,
You know, the details behind the jaw are really
but they still projected emotion through each
up
muscle's
for
eyes.
question. It seems like every time you draw them
And
or do
close.
anything like that, it
Patton
kind of changes.
made
But it's
strange
definitely going to
noise.
be a conglomeration of tubes,
Electrical clicks and ticks rattling behind his inhuman
shapes.
voice. Maines had the nagging urge to communicate with the android, get some answers. That he commanded the Xenomorphs was clear. His name was stamped on a patch of exoskeleton at the back of each of their heads.
And there is going to be a lot of deletion on this one,
What did he want? Where had he originated?
just to
And
ensure
why he had attacked this huge Yahucha habitat?
we get low
Maines
enough to
hated the idea of dying without knowing. Spit it out, or Johnny,
try to
Leader said.
use some of that. I'll have to
Fuck sentimentality, Private.
work down
Maines
into.
said. But he squeezed back. Here they come.
I'll have to lower a lot of
The
that
frozen
around
Xenomorph
the
darted
date if
through
I
the
want to keep
doorway
the
and
date.
onto the bridge. Leader sliced
Not
his
sure.
neck to
I'm
crouch.
never really sure when approaching a coin like this. It tends to just be a free for all.
Body bursting and acid blood spraying as it self-destructed. Two more followed. Maines fired his
So-
antique shotgun 3 times at the first. It dropped from view behind a control panel, then leapt again, leaking corrosive blood.
We have some basic shapes on there.
Another shot down. Leader
And I
killed
think
the
that
third
means
creature
it's
with a nanoburst.
time
The
to
specks flowering in 1,000 explosions across the entrance.
go ahead and make
to
some
the bridge.
cuts.
It caught another couple
So
of
as usual, I'm
seconds
using
before
my
it
favorite
when the
tool,
first detonated, it must have killed
my
the second. Their death throes thudding through the ship.
stubby little number 54 flat graver,
Riding on the wall,
heavily
Hansen had the
customized.
heavy Yahucha spear that pinned him there, attempting to
I have
take it.
literally
He would not succeed.
99% of my carving is done with
Smart
this
stance at the spear's
specific
entry point
flat
to the chest.
graver.
Miniature lightning storms
Probably a little
marking
dull right
between
now,
android
um,
and weapon at
from
the
that Morgan dollar I was carving this morning
He
and
scratched
last
the
night.
shaft and then tried to force
Took
his
about a
fingers
week
inside
off.
the wound. Plasma.
I am currently traveling
3 more
at a secret
Xenomorphs
location,
coming through the
doing a
entrance.
construction project that I can't really talk about.
And one crawling across the ceiling like a monstrous spider. Mains's
But
visor
I've
darted
certainly been
automatic
itching
as Leader unloaded her
to
last
cut into
grenade
some
with
metal
charge in their direction. The blast struck the one on the ceiling,
over
and
the
it
last
disintegrated
week.
in a sun-hot eruption, melted
What's
flesh and
a little
sinew
blinding
blazing
for me?
as it showered across its brethren below. They screeched in agony, scampered further onto the bridge, slumped down, and burst apart.
Having trouble seeing
The air filled
that
with
definition
waves of
right
spraying
there.
gas. Their combat
But
sense
using a
turned
wiggle
to
cut
the
as always for
It
initial
seemed to
cuts.
Maines that his
So I'm just trying to
mind was
outline,
Patton
and it's better if I don't have a huge slip right off the bat.
It was a strange android.
It is about 5 degrees where I'm at right now, so we're going to be listening to the heater going on in the background. And I have to have my audiobook running. Okay, I'm going to turn the light back up. Okay. Change what windows are visible on the monitor. Okay. So I can make sure I'm not carving outside the view of the microscope. So this is definitely a different style than some of the other ones I've been working on. I have not done a video of this stuff before, so feel free to ask questions as usual. Love getting feedback while in progress. A little bit of a slip. Going ahead and pushing it along, just using the corner. The idea of where this mantle goes. There'll be a whole lot of deleting on this coin. I don't want these cuts to be too deep. I want that mantle to really pop. And my company was nice enough to give me. Yeah, they are fairly soft. They're not nearly as soft as a silver coin. The silver coins, if I press hard, I can actually scratch them with my fingernail. The nickels, they carve almost as easily as a silver, but so they're very malleable, but they just have enough not brutality, but they're just resistant enough to damage that they can really hold some fine detail without you having to worry about it too much. But more importantly, they cut easily, but in a way that doesn't really allow. They're not really easy to slip. Like if you're cutting a modern nickel, it's super brittle, and chances are you're gonna you slip. It's gonna slip hard, and you'll leave a not deep, but definitely a significant line in your work. These guys, the slip, usually it means you end up leaving like a short, deep gouge. But it's really not as susceptible to slip as the other. I think I'm just realizing that I do not have my diamond, or my, not diamond, I think it's a ruby stone, my oil stone. So this will be interesting. Just gonna run it on my engraver on my knife sharpener here real quick. Means I'll probably be doing some nasty probably won't be as smooth. Usually is when it's freshly sharpened. But I just kind of ran it on there real quick to make sure that edge is fairly a decent coin on it, kinda.
And she took down 2 xenomorphs with one burst. Another barreled into her, knocking her from her feet,
Let's see what that looks like under
to
the.
the floor, its arms slapping
I'm not sure if you can see that.
as its head did now. Maze saw her eyes.
But it looks like I definitely have
He
a
stepped forward and
little
fired
bit of
his
a.
last shot.
Yep, I'm missing a corner. And my flat graver is a little bit damaged there. I'll have to be extra careful. You kind of see it on those cuts right there that I'm making. They're not flat. Okay, we have a little bit of the mantle done there. I don't want to go into too much detail on that John stuff, because it will be kind of up to whatever the coin develops. I mean, like Bob Ross says, happy accidents. It's part of why I don't put a whole lot of forethought into what I'm carving. I tend to kind of go with the flow. The graver will really create it as much as, you know, your mind creates. And taking advantage of what happens with the metal as you go is really what does it for me. Okay. So I've kind of got a jaw figured out loosely. So, got that second mouth here. Go ahead and just kind of outline it a little bit. Go fairly deep with a corner cut with a flat graver. Give it a little bit of wiggle so I don't get too much of a slip. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the upper teeth kind of lay over that or not. Peeking out between them. So I'll just kind of use the nose there to sort of define that. Cut off this bridge of the nose. Defining the front of those teeth where they will peak. Some of that.
The grenade exploded. A xenomorph shrieked. Maze and Leader held each other. The blast whistled in his ears. "Don't you fucking dare fool me," he said. "Johnny, what the hell's happening?"
Yeah, as for what Donald was asking about 75% copper, 25% nickel. Modern nickels are extremely brittle, and I can't stand carving them. Jerry Morales seems to do quite a few of them, but I have never had a lot of luck with clad coins in general. I prefer to stick with the silver. I mean, also it's just nice to, you know that the silver coins when you carve them are going to be worth a little bit more, just for the fact that it is does hold some melt value.
Pull off our limbs, open us up, and it wasn't the xenomorph pulling them. That atmosphere was fainting.
I mean, Buffalo Nickels always kind of have a little bit of a decent following anyway, so
And air was being expelled
they're
into
pretty
the
easy to
vacuum,
offload when you
sweeping
want to.
across the bridge and carrying with it anything that wasn't screwed down. That included the dead aliens and Yahusha, tumbling and colliding as they went, as well as the living xenomorphs that had been coming at them across
That
the wide
that said, I
space.
mean, even though it is fairly soft metal I use most of the time, I am really looking forward to picking up a Lindsay Palm Graver in the near future.
As Haynes's visor
Which-
cleared, he adjusted position, turning onto his side so that he and Meter could see beneath the control panel.
I think will definitely speed up my process on the deeper carving. It's not necessarily the skull nickels and stuff,
As
but
heavy objects smashed through. Xenomorphs flew straight up.
I mean,
Then
any
a third
time I'm carving and
spidery
like
fingers
right now,
digging into the
I've
damaged
got all of
surface.
this metal right here
Tried
to
self-struggling
remove.
several times.
That's not
It
going to
held
be
on, pulling,
in the
actually
carving.
hauling itself against the flow.
We're looking at, I don't know, maybe even pushing 4 millimeters thick right there at the braid that I need to take down. And with the pneumatic tool, it's way easier.
Now he was out there forever, tumbling into infinity.
Well, even with a rotary device, but I can't stand using the rotary devices. They're just
Somewhere in the strange ship, blast doors must
loud
have
and
closed.
obnoxious.
Sound retreated.
Well, not that a
Seconds
pneumatic
later, they found themselves
graver isn't
subsumed
loud and
within a
obnoxious, but
haunting, threatening silence. Leader stood first, helping Layers to his feet.
I have real
They now
problems
carried only a sidearm each.
keeping a
Mayers
rotary.
knew that his laser pistols
tool
charged
where I
would
want
amount
it to
just
be.
one or two swift shots.
I mean, it's just easier to push through something than to just lightly braze it with
Whatever he had been attempting had failed.
with a
Blast
spinning
driven
tool.
fist-sized chunk of metal into his face.
I did start using a rotary tool on the movable jaw coin that I'm trying to carve, but I left that guy at home. I'll be on the road for a couple months,
Artificial, he may have
living in this apartment that my company
was as frail as he.
very kindly provided myself and another worker. So we're rooming up.
He spun and peered
But
in the direction she was facing.
I didn't want to
There was movement at the
bring
very
something that would be a
she's-
definite mess maker.
As he saw what
So I
it
still
was,
have a lot of
he thought for a
grinding
moment he
to
might
do
be
on the jaw, and it's gonna be a lot of really
Wait,
minute
he
work
said, holding her arm. Holy shit,
to get that
Leader said.
fulcrum to function properly.
Two shapes entered through the hole, safety lines extending behind.
So I'm planning to build myself a
They were heavily armed.
kind of a drill press using one of my Milwaukee
10 minutes
impact drivers.
What the hell sort of trouble have you been kicking up? A voice asked.
So I can start doing some clockwork piece type
Eddie.
things, similar to what Roman Poutine's done, but
The man
definitely
who
not
stepped forward must
his
have been
level.
almost 7 feet tall, broad and powerful. His combat suit straining at the seams, even though it would have been specially made for him. Always said you'd need rescuing one day.
I like to look at the guys who are definite professional engravers and try to emulate what they do, but
Hitting on her already?
I have no
Maines asked.
delusions of grandeur.
Durante shrugged. Maines laughed. She'd have your balls for dinner. Durante looked around the smashed ship's bridge as another shape dropped through the hole behind him from above. Seen some action, Johnny? It's been a tough few weeks. Tell me about it. What does that mean? Maines asked. Durante looked at him strangely. We've been cut off here. No communications in or out, other than a signal we sent a few minutes ago. So you don't know anything that's been happening? No. Why? I'll tell you on board the Navarro. You all that's left? Yeah. How did you know about us? Picked up a distress signal from the Oxa. Where is it? The Oxa had exploded minutes after crash landing them safely on the habitat. Following
Okay.
a tough contact with some Yahucha ships departing UMF-12. Frodo
Try to save most of that.
must have
I'm just going
broadcast
to
a
define
distress
that
signal
right
seconds
here.
before being blasted last
across the
It's
ribbons
toast,
hanging off the braid
Maine said.
to meet up with the throat.
The ship's computer had developed a personality, and they'd all thought of it as another.
Not sure what I'm going to do with the biomechanical stuff there at the throat.
Durante grunted, then gestured for them to follow. Unless you've grown to like this place, get us the fuck out of here, Peter said. And
And back to Wiggle Huts.
Kiska star.
A lot of material there to take out.
Sounds like we both got plenty of news to share, Durante said as they prepared to leave. Maines and Leader held on to each other as they crossed the bridge under the watchful gaze of Eddie Durante and his fellow members of the Hellsparks. Maines hadn't seen the big man in over 6 years. A fellow excursionist. He'd been in command of one of the other Aero-class ships.
No, the Wiggle Cuts are definitely hard on the graver.
They'd done some training together.
I think it's a major reason I lose a lot of the
corner.
corner.
In the same Colonial Marine regiment. They hadn't been close friends back then. But when they'd both been selected for excursionist training, they'd grown to like each other. Still, Maines had never expected to see Durante again. Such was the life of an excursionist. Thanks for coming by, he said, as they approached the smoking hole of the hull. Wasn't busy, Durante said. He and Maines stared out over the huge curved surface of the Yahucha habitat and into the impersonal void of space.
Oh, my wife is talking to me.
Maines did not believe in God, but as he
Have you guys heard of the Green Rider
he gave thanks to Eddie
books by Kristen Britton? Apparently she's reading those right now.
The Navarro had been customized on the inside by its Hellspark crew. It maintained a similar layout to the Oxa, but it still felt like a strange ship. As they passed through the airlock and their combat suits cycled down, Maines and Leader pulled themselves into flight seats while Durante's medic gave them the once-over. A small Alfish woman, Radcliffe accessed their suits' CSUs to assess current physical condition and medical needs. "Now, what have you guys been doing down there?" she asked.
There we
Checking
go.
the readouts of floating holoframe, she glanced at Leader with what might have been awe. "Relaxing," Leader said. "Few drinks in the evening, game of backgammon, nice slow screw before bed." "Right," Radcliffe said. "Well, I'll concoct a stew of shit to pump into you both. Might make you feel a bit better." "Worse wouldn't be possible," Maines said. "Thanks." "Not a problem." Radcliffe called over a medical unit and connected it to
Yeah, the way I do large scale deletion like this, go through a couple times with the Wiggle Cut,
While she worked,
try to get the highest points down.
"We're getting out of here," he said. "Sensors
And then see if I can level it with some pushes just along.
They'll break through and come at the ship if they can." Maines said.
Shave it and kind of flatten it down.
Durante asked. "They were controlled," Leader said. "The android you saw
Use
came
my
out,
Hitaki
but he
scraper.
called himself Pat. And somehow he was giving them orders.
A very,
Weaponized
very useful
xenomorphs.
tool. Which is still just the flat graver, but I might flip it up on the side and scrape.
His head swam.
Just gotta be careful not to mess up the front cutting blade. Can you do that?
Now was not the time. "Pat. Pat," Durante said, frowning. "20th century jungle," Leader said. "Just
Boy,
what the
a lot
hell?"
of stuff to delete out of
Durante
here.
said. "How can this have anything to do with the Yahucha incursion?" "The what?" Durante told them. "About the contacts across the outer rim, battles, and Yahucha incursions deeper into the human sphere, as well as the various instances of sabotage against the Utani and Colonial Marine bases. Death tolls were huge. Excursionists were being called back in from beyond the rim to patrol the borders. And even though
I'm
some
thinking
sort of ceasefire had apparently been established,
something
they were still
there.
on a warfare. "Yahucha don't invade," Leader said. makes it so worrying? Durante said. It's not that. Maine shook his head.
There's going to be some kind of biomechanical stuff going on at the top of that
Lean to the side and bring it all up.
jawbone.
Feeling dreadful. He heaved several times, spattering the
Definitely
floor
want a
and
lobe
the
of some
seats
kind
lanes.
right there behind
It
the
was only
jawbone.
thankful that the Navarro's artificial gravity had been engaged. He wished he could expunge every awful memory of the past few weeks. Of all his friends he had seen die. You
Something like
puked on
that.
my ship, Durante said. Yeah. Maines wiped his mouth. Sorry about that.
That.
But Eddie, I need to send a
Then I was
message back to
thinking,
Disc Star. It's
there's a
not
piece
where the
across
Yakuza are going
there.
we've got to worry about. It's what
Tissue?
they're running from. Maines knew it would take
I'm doing pretty deep cuts right at this moment because I'm planning to scale down the side of the head there to kind of smooth it out and give myself room to sculpt.
his friend to maintain a steady orbit around the habitat while he sent the brief signal. It was important, he said.
And I mean, also I plan to have that carapace, the mantle there, stick out from the jawbone. And of course I need to blend back deeply enough that I'm not going to have the significant jump through the feathers back there at the back of the head.
Their various injuries would be treated, and soon.
So I think I need to go deep on right there
Dehydration
at the mantle.
starvation would take longer to recover.
See if I can give you guys a
The drugs can only act as a buffer. He sat silently for a moment as he composed the message.
little more focus.
As he did so, he had the feeling he might be defining all of their futures. And he began. This is Lieutenant Johnny Maines of the 5th Excursionists, the Waymarks. After 30 days aboard the Yakuza,
I know it's not great, but that's like a about $150 camera using the stream through. Haven't gotten around to upgrading the AM scope to a trinocular that allows me to not use the shutter. And I really have to have the stereo zoom view to do a decent carving. I was struggling with those first few streaming videos,
More often than not, they attacked individually.
and it was just too much.
Aboard Yakuza vessels with the intention of stealing one to escape. But we couldn't fly any of them. Then we discovered a strange ship docked at one end of the habitat. We started finding Yakuza corpses that looked as though they'd been ripped apart. We suspected some sort of internal feud, but we were proved wrong.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do some deep wiggles
They had arrived on the
right along
strange
that
ship,
carapace
which,
there.
although largely mysterious
Take the
to
top of
us,
that hair out.
was almost certainly of human origin. It was an android on
Yeah, this is the point that a pneumatic graver would really be
named after a 20th
a
century
blessing to me.
and it seems that Patton was in control of the Xenomorphs. Someone
But when I make that investment, I want to get the Lindsay palm graver so I can use a CO2 bottle to run it,
sometimes exploding, sometimes melting down.
and just have it.
Skeletons consumed.
Especially if I'm going to be doing these videos on the road in the future,
We found Patton's name stamped on the carapace at the back of the
because it is a pain to pack up and move. I've actually been in 3 different beds in the last week, hotels, and then finally the apartment that we got set up. Because the hotels around here were running over $100 a night. Yeah, we plan to be out here for a couple months. My crew. Hell, you never know, I might just be here for a year. Last time I left the house for a traveling gig, it was 18 months before I got to go home, and I was only expecting to be gone a maximum of a year.
On one of the ship's deep space servers. I do best to let Peter tell you what she said. Name's not even clear. She leaned forward and spoke to the holoframe. Her image and words being stored, ready to be sent across 9 years of space. Maines knew that they would have great fun.
Okay, I'm gonna run the graver over my diamond stone a little bit. I'm really mad at myself for not packing up my oil stone. I may have to drive home one of these weekends. 6 hours just to get that sucker. There's a knife sharpener, just does not get the right edge on these high strength steel burns.
Certainly faster than any flying ships were ever designed to travel. And perhaps even faster than aero ships. By soon, CSU identified 2 of these ships as successful for
Yeah.
and the Aaron
You might even be able to see it in the camera there.
the Sol system centuries ago.
The difference in the grain on that metal after running on the diamond stone compared to
Triumph suspension.
the facets that have been
My fears are
hit with the oil stone. You can see it. It's kind of a rounded tip.
we're afraid that whoever the android is working for has weaponized this
But it's still helping a little bit. Just giving it a quick little sharpen. Those wiggle cuts I do are really rough on the edge. Because I'm prying with a sharpened blade, essentially.
Waiting orders, he said. Then he nodded at Durant's comms officer, who turned off the
But it's okay. It's safest way to get a deep cut. Lord knows I have all kinds of chunks of graver and nickel in my hand from slipping and stabbing myself.
And fly, Durant said. And we'll fill in our friends here on what's been happening while they've been on vacation in Yellow
If you're just tuning in, I'm listening to, I'm not sure how well you can hear it, but I'm listening to Alien Invasion. It's part of I think it's book 1 in a trilogy where the predators are hunting the aliens and actually team up with some other humans to fight the aliens.
I will pronounce it as Drop. We're closing in. Mere hours away from our target. And now our work truly begins. All my troops are
Maybe we should turn that Liberty on this coin into
10 times that many in reserve. They're vicious and fearless and deadly.
oh, what's the company's name?
That's why we are
I'm sorry guys, I'm tired.
as a landmark. Today we make history. Tomorrow we begin to rewrite it. Your general.
Wayland Yutani.
Another one.
I mean, maybe just Yutani. Probably be pretty easy to do. Well, bit of a slip there. Okay, I didn't take out the edge too much. Even up where we're coming to. I still need to take a lot of this down in the back of the head to blend the carapace into the edge of the coin back there. Smooth a little bit of that out real quick. Okay, yeah, I got most of that hair out. got the jaw somewhat formed. At least the edges of the teeth there in the front kind of figured out. Front edge of the neck. Definitely need to do a bunch of deletion down here, right by the neck. It's still really high. So I'm going to focus on that for a minute.
Often spending time writing of their adventures or staring at the stars and dreaming. It was a way of slowing their pace, almost was shutting down, settling at last, and letting death catch up. A few might decide to return to the place of their birth. But McBrain had been back to Earth in over 60 years, and he had no intention of returning there. If anything, and if the company
I already have a pretty deep crevice there at the neck, so I'm not too worried about cutting through it
and activate drop hole
with some pushes.
as captain of the Titan ship, the Garmin, he was responsible for Gale 113 to 123, 11 drop holes constructed across a 40-year career. Dedication to his mission meant that he never married or had children. Other happy relationships with members of the crews came and went. He'd spent his whole life working to expand our and further being such an explorer. He hadn't done it for fame or fortune. McBrain was simply a man who liked to explore, and a captain who loved his job and was proud of what he had achieved. Idle Jack should be complete in 2 days, Clintock said. He was systems manager, a small, intense man who often surprised his company. But it's looking good. All systems green. Containment fields and mats. Fuel pod secure. Dark matter stable. Good, McBrain said.
Okay.
Clintock carried on running
I'll go ahead and grab my steel brush.
1,000 times.
These were really cheap. I got them off of eBay. It's literally a bunch of steel running through a pencil type thing. Just a little bit sticking out. Here, check this out. I turn the back of it and it pushes it out and brings it in just like a just like a mechanical pencil, pretty much. They've lasted me a couple years so far, which is great.
Each of the 14-member bridge crew was lit from his or her screen. When pulled
And
together for
the reason I'm
intercepts,
scrubbing it with this brush
huge vessel
is
composed of unique parts
just to scratch up and make the light diffract a little bit more off of the cuts that I've made so far, which will provide me with a better view
disparate sections
through the microscope
spread over 20 spherical
of what I'm looking at.
They
Because
ranged
sometimes those cuts can send that light back at me and really shine.
most of the scientists
See how it's kind of catching the light there? Sometimes they'll come right back at me through the microscope and I can't, it takes away the depth of perception.
There were storage
pretty much.
vessels, tunnels, a hospital ship, welfare centers for the crews, a green
So
dome for
let's
growing
see.
their food, 2 recreation units, and a score of smaller craft involved in the maneuver.
So I think I'm going to do some basic shaping on the mantle
Right now,
here.
the larger ships were all on station between Gaddafi and the drop.
And that means a lot of
Smaller
scraping.
ships flitting back and forth carrying crew and supplies to various places.
I kind of define the back of that
The drop hole
carapace. Not really define it, but start to work on the blending down. That way I'm working at a decent depth for the biomechanical stuff that will be going on from the
McBrain felt the calm satisfaction of a job well done, but also the curious fluttering in his stomach at the prospect of another couple of years' travel to the next proposed location.
I lost track of what I was saying, sorry.
Orbiting the site at various points and distances were the colonial marine ships,
But really, I just want to get rid of
There were always two
these
ships
hard
in the station
edges.
with the Titan as standard, providing
I
escorts
hate taking
and
away the
protection
feathers
for
on these
fast
coins.
route ships.
The feathers are probably
McBrain
my
had
favorite
never
part
ran
of
on
the stamped
countless
coin.
occasions of the battle
Really fun to
of the
add a little
Barge,
detail to
running
when you're
into
doing
millions of credits.
uh,
And he had always felt comfortable in military presence. It was rare that Marines and Titan crews ever crossed paths.
like an Indian chief
There were isolated cases over the
headdress
past
or
few decades of Titan ships being attacked by pirates, Yakuza, or elements of Red
something like
4
that.
when the anti-Weyland-Yutani
I haven't done a
terrorists
hair
had an
detail
active
on any of
presence
my
across the
skulls in
rim.
quite a while.
But the
Those
Gagarin
are always cool
herself
coins to do.
had
They're
never
just
been subject
very
to an
time
attack
consuming.
or problem requiring military assistance. Any internal problems were dealt with by McBrain and his supporting officers. He knew that his career had been blessed.
I really need to step away from doing just always doing skulls all the time. Do some more of these more interesting coins. Because the skulls just get dull to do.
Or even being selected as a staging ground for Yakuza hunts. There had been the case of one ship, the Peak,
Not that I don't
chased
love
along
the skulls.
by a determined band of pirates.
There's really only so many ways you can do them.
For the colonial marine escorts. The Titan ship itself was broken down, and the constituent parts were used as weapons against the aggressors. McBrain had read the Peak's captain's famous account, A Year of Hell, and although he admired what she and her crew had eventually achieved, he
Okay.
sought no such adventures.
I'm going to blacken in this coin now.
Many of those left alive were
And then
permanently
wipe away.
damaged by the
That'll.
bullets. They were scientists,
It's about that time of the coin where I need to
not
see
soldiers. So
what's
6
going
colonial
on.
marine ships patrolled around the Gagarin.
Give me an idea of what parts of the stamped coin I can still use
Over the past
for the
couple of
design
months,
that's laid out so
there have been
far
reports of Yakuza attacks across
versus
the
what needs to
sector.
go away.
And the Marines were constantly on a war footing. There
And
were also
also,
a series of attacks within the human sphere.
when I'm trying to
Sabotage assaults that
make an
resulted in
area
some horrific disasters and loss of life.
useful,
He was troubled
as far as like
by
a
this,
palette, flatten it
but
out.
comforted by the additional securities.
This helps me see
The ships cruised
what is
anywhere
actually
up to
higher than
10,000
what.
miles around Gamma 123, and any aggressors entering the region
So I definitely need to
would be dealt
lower
with long before they reached
this section along the bottom of the carapace a little bit,
Beyond the spread of ships
or the
and
mantle, whatever you
service
want to
vessels,
call it.
the drop hole itself
And I'm
presented
pushing
a
it
nice
off
but
camera.
awesome spectacle.
Where
McBrain never
is that
tired of viewing the end product of their mammoth
view?
efforts. The drop hole was a complete circular unit, more than 2 miles in diameter and comprising 50,000 tons of diamond filament compound.
There we go.
The factory that manufactured the compound
Well,
was one of the Gagarin's largest units.
I can't zoom out with the camera. It's already zoomed out as much as possible. This one that I bought, actually, I think it can go up to
As the decommissioning process
like 140 times magnification or something.
at its maximum production speed, its output was
So it's on its lowest magnification right now.
of the super hard material spewing from its egress ports each day. The compound was gathered by catcher ships, then transported to the drop hole frame and molded into place.
Let's come across this a
The
little
drop
bit.
hole glimmered in starlight. Diamond filament was used because, apart from
And
tritonite,
wiggle
it was
through
the
that
hardest
high point.
compound known to man. A pleasing side effect of its use was its reflective properties, catching starlight and casting it out again. On rare occasions, and if caught at just the right angle, the entire circular surface of a drop hole glowed like a rainbow. At 5 locations around the drop hole frame were the bulkier containment pods. These were the real guts of the device. They housed the heavy containment fields behind which science and mystery collided. McBrain had never pretended to truly understand how the drop holes worked. Indeed, he'd heard it said
Definitely need to grind
Since the
down
early
that upper
days of
face.
this arcane technology,
It's lost
more
a
than
little bit of
1,000
the.
drop holes had been built and commissioned. Around
Like,
the
see, I
hub
flip
of
over that
commission,
side, and I'm really getting
for
some good
reasons that
scraping.
were never quite
The other
clear,
side started to round
those
off a
wars
little
had
bit
ended in tragedy. With the
because I use it
accelerated
so much
expansion and
for
ever-growing reach of the
as a
human
top
sphere,
engraver.
a dozen Titan ships had been lost
Or
in the
scraper.
last century alone when the drop holes they were building suffered failure. It was a risky career. McBrain comforted himself with the idea that if a containment field ever did fail on a project he was overseeing, he wouldn't know anything about it. He and his entire crew would be vaporized before knowing anything was wrong. Boss? Hey. Sorry, boss, Clintock said. I didn't realize it was time for your afternoon nap. Smart ass. Clintock smiled. I said we're ready for the first drop. He peered out through the viewport. Another one bites the dust, eh, Nathan? Yeah. We live to build another day. They stared at the circular structure in the distance. At present, it held nothing within its circumference, and through it they could see stars. But when initiated, it would turn dark, black as infinity. And to
All right, we've been going for almost an hour now.
And they told us which would be the first ship to use it. McBrain asked. Not yet.
Come quite a ways on getting the initial delete going. Definitely have most of the alien blocked out. Carapace, jaw, second mouth there on the neck, and started to get some of this blending here in the back going. But that's an hour of carving, and I think I want to keep these somewhat short, so I'm going to take a break. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back on live when I'm back on live. That's been 2 videos today, so I'm thinking the weekends I'll probably be doing these quite often. I will be out here in Winter Wonderland, my secret location, for about 2 months at least, and I plan to do as many of these as possible so I can get that pneumatic graver when it's time. I'm not sure how I'm going to be selling this stuff. I'll figure that out later, probably at the end of the job when I get home. I'll throw them up on eBay, but in the meantime, hope you join me for some more carvings, and you guys have a good night.
The hollow screen before him, a schematic of their area of space appeared. At first, the Gagarin